Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about the age-old quarterback early versus wait on quarterback debate. And it's more intense this year than ever because, well, quarterback was just such a polarizing position in fantasy last season. So there's a lot of people that are leaning towards the early quarterback strategy. Now, if you follow my channel a lot, you probably know which side I'm on, but I'm not going to get into that till the very end of the video. I'm going to be talking about the potential and the positives for both ends of the spectrum, whether you want to go early quarterback or wait on a quarterback and value the running back position more. And I'm basically going to be comparing quarterback production versus running back productions over the past 5 seasons versus just looking at last year. That way we have a bigger sample size to work with. So if you look at the quarterback one last year, Pat Mahomes, 428 fantasy points, Geno Smith, 314. There was a massive 114-point difference at the quarterback position, whereas if you look at running back 1 through running back 5, Austin Ekeler to Saquon, there was only an 88-point fantasy point total difference. So the quarterback position was more polarizing by a total of 26 fantasy points last season, 114 difference between quarterback 1 and quarterback 5, and an 88-point difference between running back 1 and running back 5. So the quarterback position was technically more valuable last year than the running back position, but let's look at 2021. In 2021, there was a 116-point difference between Jonathan Taylor and James Conner, the running back 1 and the running back 5. And then there was a 71-point difference between Josh Allen and Matt Stafford, the quarterback 1 and the quarterback 5. So in that season, just 2 seasons ago, 2021, the running back position was more polarizing than the quarterback position. So we look at these last 2 seasons and we're like, what is going on? Is quarterback more valuable or is running back more valuable? So let's go back another season. 2020, there was only a 29-point difference between quarterback 1 and quarterback 5. Josh Allen, the quarterback 1, Deshaun Watson, the quarterback 5, only a 29-point difference. Whereas at the running back position, there was a 119-point difference. Alvin Kamara being the 1, Aaron Jones being the 5. There was a 119-point fantasy point difference between those running backs. So 2 out of the past 3 seasons, running back has still been the most polarizing position. So was last season an anomaly, or is it really heading in that direction? We're going to figure that out here in a sec. So let's go back yet another year, 2019. There was a 179-point difference between running back 1 and running back 5. This was Christian McCaffrey's anomaly season where he put up one of the craziest running back seasons you could possibly imagine. He came out and, 471.2 fantasy points. Derrick Henry with 294.6. There was a 179-point difference between running back 1 and running back 5. And at the quarterback position, there was only an 89-point difference between Lamar Jackson at 1 and Deshaun Watson at 5. So, what we've seen here is that 3 out of the past 4 years, the running back position has been more polarizing than the quarterback position. So let's go back one more year and look at Todd Gurley versus Zeke. There was only a 61-point difference. And in this season, in 2018, we have another season where the quarterback position was more polarizing. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback 1, Andrew Luck, quarterback 5. There was a 91-point difference, which was a bigger difference than at the running back position. So 3 out of the past 5 seasons have favored the running back positions as far as overall point totals between the first player and the fifth player. But, when we really look at this, is there actually a pattern? Is it really actually heading in one direction, or can it be a little bit more on the random side? I think that it could be a little bit more on the random side as far as which position could be more polarizing. But, when you look at the biggest differences and the biggest gaps of the positions, the seasons where running backs outperform quarterbacks as far as the fantasy point total difference between the first player and the fifth player, the swings that were at the running back position were way more exaggerated and just crazy than the swings at the quarterback position. In fact, the quarterback position only outscored the running back position in point differential last season between the first player and the fifth player by 26 points. And then in 2018, it was by 30 points where, between running back 1 and running back 5, they only scored 30 less points than between quarterback 1 and quarterback 5 as far as the point total differential. So, when we really look at this, it's still more in favor of running backs being the more polarizing position. It's just that, we look at last season and the quarterback was the most polarizing position. And so people tend to really look at the very last thing they saw and base everything off of that. And they would tell you that, hey, quarterbacks matter more now. But if you look at the past 5 seasons, not only has the running back position been the bigger difference-making position 3 out of the past 5 years, when they are the bigger difference-making position, the point gap is significantly higher between running back 1 and running back 5 than when the quarterback has the better season as far as point total differential when you look at quarterback 1 versus quarterback 5. It's usually, not as big of a point swing, when you look at running back 1 to running back 5 versus the quarterback position. So when the running back position dominates and goes into a season and is the more polarizing position, the point gap between running back 1 and running back 5 is massive, more so than it is at the quarterback position every single season. Now, when you look at the quarterback position, obviously last year it was more polarizing, but I don't think that the league is necessarily trending in a direction where that's going to happen every single season. Because if we look at the past 5 years, it's only happened 2 out of the past 5 years, where 3 out of the past 5 years, running back has been the more polarizing position. So that's just something to think about. And then obviously there's the fact that quarterbacks rush more and they have a slightly higher ceiling, but I would argue that the point gap between running back positions is going to be more pivotal now than ever because of all these split backfields. The running backs that actually have workhorse roles in their offense are going to be able to create bigger point differential between themselves and the rest of the field because there's just so few workhorse running backs. So the running backs that are at the very top are going to be bigger difference-making players because they're going to blow the split backfield running backs out of the water, and there's so many of those now. So I think that this season we will see a bigger point total differential between running back 1 and running back 5 than we will between quarterback 1 and quarterback 5. And then you also look at the fact that last season at the quarterback position, Dak Prescott missed 5 games, Lamar Jackson missed 5 games, right? The Rams just randomly fell off, so Stafford was worthless. Russell Wilson was a huge bust. Justin Herbert was playing with a rib fracture all season long. There were Deshaun Watson missed the entire season, right? There were so many quarterbacks that could have competed for those top spots, and they were out for the season because of injuries or suspensions. And this is what created such a ridiculous point swing between quarterback 1 and quarterback 5, whereas that would not have been there if all those guys didn't miss time. So that's another reason why there was such a big point total differential at the quarterback position now. So I bet a large amount of money that there will be a bigger point swing between running back 1 and running back 5 this coming season than there is between quarterback 1 and quarterback 5 this coming season, even though it didn't happen that way last year. So the fact of the matter is, it isn't really a trend heading in the direction of the quarterbacks. I think last season was just a little bit of an anomaly. And so I would go ahead and value the running back position earlier in drafts, more so than the quarterback position. But if you want to draft a quarterback early due to what you saw last year, I get it. I just don't think that it's going to happen that way a second season in a row. And I think it's still better to go ahead and take wide receivers and running backs early and go ahead and wait on a quarterback because at the end of the day, they're both still going to be more polarizing positions. All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Catch you later.